guys, basement grow. We've got the clones here from the bedroom cupboard grow, and these are kind of pretty much outgrowing their pots now. So what we need to do is get them into these 1 gallon pots and get them back upstairs, and then they can be ready and prepped to go into this tent when these plants go upstairs. So all we need to do really is they're pretty dry, and we're just going to put them in some of the Plagron all mix and maybe sprinkle a bit of worm castings on the top there. If you remember these ones, these are the G-Whiz. So that's the one that's flowering upstairs at the moment. But as you can see, these are pretty crazy. It's what's called a monster crop. So I actually clipped off buds of these. These was all actual buds. You can see the pistils in there. See them all. So this is what happens when you basically take a clone that's in late flower. You've still got the bud, you've still got the pistils, but slowly it's reverting back. You can see the new growth in there. This one's the best example because you can actually see it where it's coming right out of the bud. So this is great. I mean, they call this a monster crop because if these do eventually pull through, the amount of shoots that comes off them is crazy. So these should have quite a lot of heads on them, all at equal level. But what we need to do right now is get them back in some bigger pots. They've been in here for quite some time now, maybe over a month. I wasn't too sure if they'd pull through, but yeah, you can still see a lot of the trichomes on there. They're still producing trichomes, but it's slowly vegging back. You can see the little shoots just coming back out of it again. Pretty cool when you see them grow. But yeah, that's what we call a monster crop. So I got some of these off the G-Whiz, late flower, and we've got 3 that pulled through. Not sure about this one. This one's pretty tight. But we'll get that in a big pot, let it stretch in the big lights, and hopefully we can get a decent amount of clones off that, and then we can flower it again. Here we've got the frozen supersonic. This has become one of my keepers now, but yeah, it's not looking too good in here. It's a little bit kind of malnourished and kind of got a few dying leaves on there, so we're going to get that repotted as well. So we've got the 1 gallon pots. Nice fabric ones, dry out pretty quick, and they're nice and cheap as well. Go in a pack of 5, so we should have enough there. So we'll fill it up just with a little bit of the Plagron all mix. It's quite a strong all mix as well. You can see this is the all mix substrate, and it's got a bit of fertilizer in there as well. So this is actually quite strong. Usually when you put it in all mix, this kind of power, it might kind of burn the plants a little bit, but then again, these plants are kind of going a bit yellow anyway, so they're using up all of the nutrients that they've got in that pot, no matter how much I put in them. So we need to get them into bigger pots. We need to let the roots stretch out, and we need to get them fertilized a bit more. So we've got Queen of the South. Good little root box there, doing too well. So we'll break this up a little bit as it goes in, just at the bottom. That'll fit nicely. Top that up. We're going to make sure that it's all packed in nice and tight. These fabric pots can kind of create some dry spots and kind of fold in on themselves, so you want to make sure that it's packed out all the way to each wall hard, and then push the soil down around it to make sure the roots are snug. That way you'll know that if you pick it up and move it around, it will bend in, but if you've packed in the soil at the side, it won't really move around for the plants, and you want to make sure those roots are snug. If you're moving these around quite a bit from the tent, you don't want to move the roots, so make sure everything's packed in those fabric pots and they'll do you proud. They dry out really nice and they're really easy to move around. So that's the Queen of the South. Put it halfway in, we'll just top it up now with the rest of the all mix. So there we have it. There's the first Queen of the South in there. Oh, it seems like we've got a training clip in there as well. I'll take that out. That was just to kind of keep it a little bit lower. We want to make sure that I keep these kind of low. We don't want them shooting up, but I want them to stay alive. So it's better to keep them small and keep them stunted in these little pots. And then when we do want them to shoot up and stretch out, we can put them in a massive pot in a bigger tent with a higher light, and then that'll make them stretch. But for now, we're going to keep the light on them low, keep them in a small pot, and just keep them here in a little stasis so that whenever we need them, we've got the genetic alive. This time around, I won't be flowering the Queen of the South, but I do have 5 clones of the Queen of the South, so I wanted to make sure that I'll keep it for the next round, but taking 5 cuts is just a little precaution, just in case 1 or 2 die during the next 9 or 18 weeks, whenever we get around to it. So we've got the next 3 of the G-Wiz here, another Queen of the South, a sugarcane, and a frozen supersonic. So let's get all of these repotted and get them back upstairs in the bedroom grow. Right, so we're on the new chest harness. Hopefully this works. Can't really see the screen, but we'll see if it works or not. This is what we want. Right, so the next one's in are the G-Wiz Monster Crops. I'm just going to put these in some tiny little, I think these are 1 litre pots actually. Just a little bit more up from that size. So they're around the same size, but don't have any free ones of these. We've got the G-Wiz, got some all mix. So what we want to make sure is just check the roots on here, see how they are. They're not too bad. They're alright. Not too bad at all. So we just want to hold that there in the middle, and then we'll get just enough of the soil here and fill that up. Right, and there we go. And it's the new G-Wiz. So that should stretch out in there now. The roots should love that. Nice new hot soil. That'll give them a good boost. And then when we have the switch around and we flower the other tent and get them out for harvest, we will then put these into a bigger light and then they'll stretch. And then we should get enough decent clones out of that, and maybe we can flower this one as well. So that's it, we've got 2 more G-Wiz to do, and then we've got 1 more sugarcane and 1 more frozen supersonic. So again, we want to make sure it's all packed in nice and tight. It's a nice new home so we can stretch out and ultimately get more clones. Supersonic Repotted. That's a nice decent pot there, 1 gallon pot. It'll keep it small, but it'll also keep it healthy in vegetation state. So that's got a lot of fertilizer in it. It'll feed the plant for around 30 days, 4 weeks. So while we're using all mix, this doesn't need any nutrients at the moment for the first month. Just needs straight pH water to around 6.3, and that should have enough nutrients in that soil for this plant. We'll be able to see as well, we'll be able to check the response from the plant. If it starts getting greener, we know it's working. If it starts going yellow, we know it needs more nutrients. But overall, the all mix usually does a good job for the first month. So now, I'm gonna get the sugarcane in. Nice root structure on there, definitely healthy. Just break those roots up a little bit at the bottom, gives them a place to move, somewhere to go once they're in the new soil. These fabric pots are actually really good for dry bags, but you have to make sure that you pack them down perfectly. There's so many times you can get little air pockets, certain things, and if the roots grow out into those air pockets where there isn't any soil, they're just going to die. So you need to make sure you pack it really well all the way around if you're using these fabric pots. They're great, but you've just got to do that extra bit of attention. Unlike a plastic pot, everything just falls in place. These fabric pots can create a groove or a fold, so you want to make sure that they're packed in nice and tight. See how it's packed in? Tight there, but down here, there's a pocket. It's totally empty. So you need to make sure that all the soil gets manoeuvred down into that section. When that's in there, then it'll be harder. Right, so we've got everything repotted. This is the frozen supersonic. This is the sugarcane. I'm gonna have to label these actually, but I can just tell by the structure of them. But that's the frozen supersonic, that's the sugarcane. This is the Queen of the South. We didn't manage to repot this because I've literally run out of soil, so it's totally empty. I've got some old soil in there, but I don't think I'm gonna reuse that. I'm gonna get some more stuff. So we're totally out of soil, but at least we've got the 3 Monster Crop G-Whizzes repotted. We've got 1 Queen of the South repotted, 1 Queen of the South on standby, and the sugarcane and the frozen supersonic. In here, these are chilling now. It's got a couple of more days before these ones will go upstairs, and then we'll hit them straight to flower within a week or 2. We'll just let them stretch out a little bit more. I think I'm going to flower them in the pots that they're already in, and we'll just see what size yield we get from those pots. I'm looking forward to trying it in these and these 2 gallon pots as well. That's a PMZ 2 that's in there. These ones are 11 litre pots, but I'm put them in bigger pots purely because the PMZ 1 is not a very big plant. Like I've been saying in previous episodes, it's just a bush. So I'm going to let it stretch as much as I can in the biggest pot, but these ones, pretty good stretchers, and I think they'll do fine in a little pot. So that's about it from down here. Let's get these in there in the next couple of days, and then we'll get these upstairs now. And then when these have vegged out a little bit and these ones have gone upstairs, all of this from the bedroom is going in there, and then we'll veg that out for the perpetual cycle. So let's get these back upstairs in the bedroom grow.
What I eat, time I wait on the ground. brown，吃的那些 beef 就像 Big 一样胖，再不管那些经纪人的圈和 relation。Where you from? Where you from? 老子肯定不能忘。
我做的一切他妈为了 underground， 我吃掉那些 beef 就像 Big 一样胖，才不管那些经纪人的圈和 relation。Where you from? Where you born? 老子肯定不能忘。
不管爱干嘛 ，so 不用找烟抽，圈子谁火他就捧谁我一早。开头 I keep that low， 教室踹菜豆 ，I'm a soldier， 才不怕你们在点乐州。来自我后备想回到 all day， 出道上山野歌不符合我的审美口味，业界的口碑说唱也到位。看谁的太律动起来，一切 will be okay。So
we're back in the Spider Farmer 3x3. It's harvest day. This tent has been in darkness for around 35 hours or something, maybe 40 hours. Basically, it's had an extended dark period just to give the plants a little trigger that we want to signal the total end of the cycle. This is kind of debated, but also it allows the tent to cool down and it allows you to harvest the plant when the tent's a little bit cooler rather than the light coming on. So it's got different merits, but ultimately it's just a little signaling and hopefully it provides a better finish for the plant. So let's see how we're looking. So these two back ones now, let's just turn this fan off. Right, so the two back ones, we've got Pink Milk, we've got G-Whiz, Candy Gas, Frozen Supersonic, PMZ1. These two are around 70-75 days now, so they're gone a little bit past it. This one can handle it, not too sure about this one. These are all roughly at around day 59. So I obviously staggered these plants. I put these ones in first, then about 2 weeks later these ones came in. This tent was always on 12-12, so I've just been moving them in there periodically. So obviously these ones have finished first, pushed these past, and these ones we're going to finish these a little bit early. But overall, like I said, it was a timing thing. I've got to go and get married on 4/20 in Mexico, so I need to make sure that this tent is just vegging or is just ready to flip by the time I get back, and hopefully the plants will survive. But we'll see how that turns out. That's for another episode. But today we're going to chop these babies down, harvest them, and get the tent ready for the next cycle. So let's get the light on, put it to like 50%, just so we can see what's going on. Nice finish on the Pink Milk. This one's gone super dark now, really purple. But yeah, you can tell by them orange hairs that that's done. These leaves are curling up and drying in. No matter how much water I put in that, it just soaks it up within a day. Definitely ready. These are looking kind of fresh now. These stink as well. They smell so candy and gassy. Literally exactly what it says on the pack. Candy gas, Ripper seeds, exactly that. It's a lemon cherry gelato crossed with Hellcat for that gas. Don't know if anyone's smoked a Hellcat before, but it is just pure gas fuel kind of profile. But this here with a lemon cherry gelato mixed in there, it's got that kind of candy floral vibe. So they're only tiny, but they'll do. Yeah. It's the Frozen Supersonic. It's looking great. Definitely a washer, this one, from the structure of this. The buds are so open. You definitely wash all of that out of there. This would be a good hash plant, I think. But again, you can see it's kind of just starting to create new foxtails on the top, so it's definitely about there. It's definitely done. Nice and gassy all around. And PMZ1 needs a bit of training, gets there in the end. This literally just smells like super glue and melted Skittles. And they're solid as well. Stinks. So that's what we've got. Got some nice little flavours there that I'll definitely do as well for the next couple of weeks. I'm going to let these dry now for 14 days. Then I'll spend a couple of days trimming them, and then they're going to go in the Grove bags. And then while I go away and get married in Mexico, I'm going away for 10 days these buds should be curing off in the growth bags for 10 days. Then when I come back, they should be ready to try. So let's get these babies harvested. I'll get you on a stand, get a time lapse going. Let's do it. Right, so we're back downstairs. We've just harvested the PMZ1, the G-Whiz, and the Frozen Supersonic. So they're off, but I paused on these ones because this is smelling absolutely banging. Candy gas, Ripper seeds, and that bud there at the top is proper fat. So I didn't really give this much of a chance. You know, I put it in a small 5 litre pot, took loads of cuts off it. All my cuts died, by the way. Just wasn't good for cloning, but it smells amazing. So what I'm gonna do, same with this plant actually as well. This pink milk, it's an absolute banger. Look at that, frosty. Smells like tropical, kind of violet, almost got a mad lavender kind of scent to it. But this was my last clone. I didn't take any clones. Remember from a few episodes ago from last season, the Soul Survivor pink milk. This is it. And it turned out to be a banger, but I've cloned it and cloned it and cloned it all last summer. Never made it to the flower tent, and I just kind of flowered it to get rid of it, and now it's an absolute banger. So we've got 2 bangers that we don't have copies of. We need to re-veg them. It's going to be a long process re-vegging these. It'll take a couple of months maybe. So rather than harvesting the whole thing like we've done with those, because we have copies of those, don't have any copies of these. What I'm thinking about doing is, and this is totally experimental, sometimes it works, hopefully it does, but I'm not going to cut it at the stalk. We're going to take some of the buds off the top here. We're going to take that nice chunk there. We're going to take that nice chunk there, and maybe the same there. But we're going to leave these bottom bits, and we'll stake them up, and we'll support them a little bit, and then we're going to put that back into vegetation. So we've flowered it. It's gone on to 12-12. Now we're going to put it back in to a vegetation cycle and change the nutrients back to a higher nitrogen. And these buds should hopefully re-sprout just like the G-Whiz clones that we've got upstairs. And we're going to do the same for this one, but this one's a banger of a plant. It's got some nice buds, so I'm thinking I'm just going to chop it right about there, and then we're going to have this one branch, just this one. That's a fat bud as well, so I might cut that off and then just leave some of these to re-veg down here. So we're going to get chopping. I just wanted to pause it and let you know exactly what we're doing. So, put you on a stand here, let's see. So, well look. Oh my god, that's just snapped, literally just snapped on me. We'll take that up first. These heads get so floppy. Weak necks and big heads. Hopefully that stays. So I think we'll harvest this just there. So we'll take that. We will harvest, let's see, we'll leave that bottom board, this bottom board. So that bottom board, so we'll cut it right about there. We'll harvest that bit, candy gas. We'll leave one more on there and harvest it right there. Perfect. So this is what we're going to re-veg. These should hopefully go back into a vegetation state, and then we'll be able to get more clones off them. And now we're going to do the same with the pink milk. Overall, we're going to cut this pink milk right at the bottom there, and then we've got the rest of the plant. Let's see how that goes. Now we need to make sure they hang right. So just like this, these are the whole plants, but we just need to make sure that we've got these odd branches on here. So I'm going to use these little pipe cleaners. These are really handy for tying up plants, tying stuff down, and obviously hanging them as well. Really easy to cut and they're very strong. So we'll get a couple of these, 1, 2, 3, 4 here, and then we can hang these tiny little branches and make sure that they get enough airflow around them and they don't bash into anything, nothing's kind of knocking them. And they should dry nice and easy for the next 14 days. 10 to 14 days, we'll see how it goes. First one. Right, and there we go. So we've got the branches, got the whole plants, and now in these two pots, we can prepare for the re-veg. So overall, we're not going to do much with this. This is just going to go back in the tent. That'll pretty much stay as it is. It's nice and easy. This one, on the other hand, is going to be a little bit less manageable. So we have to figure out a way to somehow train it, keep it kind of low. Maybe we can bend it around. I think ultimately we need a stake in there. Yeah. It's a nice fat bud though. So maybe we can just leave that in the back of the tent and just prop it up against the wall for now. And then in the next couple of days I'll go and get a stake from, or some kind of cane that'll go right down the middle. And then I can use that just to support it. For now it's going to be a floppy head. It's alright though, it's just on one branch. It's decent pink milk there, so we're definitely going to have to get a copy of that. So now we know what we're doing. We've got the Re-veg plan for the candy gas, the Re-veg plan for the pink milk, and we've got the plants harvested. Big day so far, but now we need to make space. All of these hanging plants need to go inside this tent. Everything in this tent now has got to go back upstairs, but first upstairs will need cleaning and resetting before we can put these plants in there. So let's do a little clean-up session and get going. To get this to the right ambient temperature and humidity, we've dried out all this tent, we've used the power clean. Now I'm going to leave the fan just on the bottom like this. This is going to be constantly just circulating. This will make sure that the airflow is moving around the bottom of the tent, but it's not directly blowing onto the buds. I'm also going to switch off this light, of course, so it'll be dark, and then we're going to stretch across maybe some string or maybe use the trellis net, and then we're going to hang these buds off them one by one. Alright, so we'll set the humidity to around 55. We'll put it on quite a lot actually. We'll put it on 30 just to drag out any humidity that's on here. And then round about later tonight, we'll slip it down to around 55, 65%, something like that. Right now we'll put it on max. We'll draw all the humidity out of the room, we'll close the door, and this is just going to go just next to it. So it'll still do the entire room, but when the inline fan is sucking the air through, that'll also bring in the dry air. So that's about it. Flower tent's done. Let's get all the other plants sorted and back into veg. Alright fam, so that was a big day. We've got the plants harvested, we've got the tent switched around, we've got everything cleaned up. and all the timers and the lights are back on schedule. So this tent now is the drying tent, total darkness, with the dehumidifier on, rocking it around 40, 50%, something like that. Something that will just take the ambient moisture out of the air, which makes sure that this will cure off nicely. Upstairs, we've got the other plants. Now they've all been arranged and they're back onto an 18/6 cycle. So everything inside this tent is now in veg. So we have all of the plants that was downstairs, they're now vegging in. We've got the PMZ ones at the back. They'll be settling in nicely. Hopefully this distance from the light will make them stretch a little bit more so they won't be so much like a bush. Some of these are going to be flowered, some of these are going to be for clones. We've got the little re-veg down here of the G-Whiz, so that should be coming out nicely. Hopefully that will start to grow some shoots and then we can get some clones from that. Here we've got the Candy Gas. So the Candy Gas is going to be re-vegged. And just like these, hopefully we can get some cuts off them and we can save the genetic, because it's starting to smell amazing. When that dries and cures off, I hope it kind of smells exactly what I'm expecting. I think it will do. It's definitely florally, candy, gassy, just what I've been looking for. Nice lemon cherry gelato mix. And obviously we've got the pink milk here. This is still looking really nice. We just chopped it off today. One little branch there, so we'll re-veg that out. I'm thinking about cutting off that top bud, maybe. Might just keep that bud and re-veg out some of these. But either way, it's back into the 18/6 light cycle and it'll be receiving the Biobizz food schedule for veg. So that's basically just bio grow, a little bit of nitrogen and some amino acids, and hopefully the Candy Gas will re-veg and the pink milk will re-veg and we can get some clones off it and we can start this whole cycle all over again. Back into the bedroom cupboard grow. And this is what's left over. So that's frozen supersonic in the back. Then we've got a sugarcane, a Queen of the South, another Queen of the South. It's in a small pot. Got the G-Whiz monster crop there. Hopefully that bud kind of grows out. It's still looking healthy. I think I'll get some shoots off it. Got a few other Queen of the Souths there as well. 3 more at the back. So these are the ones that will be going into the small tent downstairs when that's drying. Or overall, we might just chop these down and make more clones out of them. I've got quite a lot of copies of the Queen of the South, but I'm not going to be flowering that this time around. So we'll keep that alive. Maybe for the next one, maybe for a different location. We'll see what happens come in the summer. But for now, everything's in its place, everything's settled. All we need to do now is make a massive mix for veg. So that's just basically bio grow and some bio heaven, and everything now that's in this tent and this tent will all need vegetation nutrients. So let's get on it. So the whole house is back into veg. That means we just need a huge mix of the bio grow, maybe a little bit of cow mag. We'll use some Activera as well, that's good for veg. And we'll also use some of the Bio Heaven. Make a little mixture of all that, maybe 6 to 10 litres, and we can just go around and fill up each pot until it feels heavy. After that, we'll let that settle in, and hopefully with the new nutrients, the new soil and the new lights, all those plants will veg up nice and green, and within 2 weeks time, when all this stuff is dry, we can switch that to flower and the cycle will start all over again. So let's get busy. We also need to remember, I just thought then before I started to make this mix, that all of the plants that we've just repotted have now been put into Playground All Mix. So with the All Mix, really at the very start, we should only be giving them straight water because there's enough nutrients in the All Mix to support them throughout the first couple of weeks. Maybe 3 weeks to 4 weeks, somewhere around 30 days. But ultimately, we know these are big plants. They are hungry plants. The leaves are still yellow. So I think what I'm going to do is use the Biobizz schedule for All Mix, which is basically half the amount that you'd normally use for the light mix. So it's just going to be 1 or 2 mil of this per litre. This is I think this is 6 litres, 8 litres. We'll just say it's 7 litres. Put 7 litres worth of water in it, and then we'll do 1 mil per each. So it'll be 7 mil of each. So just measured it out. It's a 6 litre jug. So we're going to do 6 mil, 6 mil. I think this is around half, so we'll do 3 mil. and yeah, maybe 12 mil of this because this can handle 2. Nice and soft and it helps a lot. Biogrow first. So we've got 3 mil. So 6 litres, 1 mil per litre, so we need another 3. So 6 mil of the Activera. The Activera is a botanical activator. Basically just gets all the stuff going on in the soil, that's what we want. Extra nutrients, helps everything kind of make it to the plant a little bit faster. Now we've got your standard CalMag. This stuff's pretty strong, so we'll only need 3 mil of this for the 6 litres. So we'll just do just under 3 mil because it's quite strong, and it recommends on the feeding chart for the CalMag it says half a mil or 0.8 of a mil for preventative measures. So we just want to give it a 5 mil. We're not trying to prevent it, we're actually trying to give it a little bit more than that because they are a little bit yellow, but we don't want to give it too much because this stuff's quite strong. And then we've got the Bio Heaven. This is amino acids, and yeah, it's basically like an energy fertilizer for the plant. Amino acids is just extra kind of boosters, vitality, stimulant kind of things. It's all good for the microbes and organic growing. Give it a little bit more. Next on the checklist, check the pH, adjust that, and then we'll get this water into the plants. As you can see here, it's coming up now just after 8. So I'm going to get a bit of Biobizz pH down in there. We want this at around 6.2, 6.3, something like that. So we need to go down another 1 point. So this is all guesswork really, because there's 8 litres in here, so it's not exactly easy to figure out exactly how many drips you need. So you've just got to get back down. Oh, here we go. 0.5, that's pretty much bang on. Really powerful stuff, that pH down, so you've got to be careful. Don't want to burn your hands with it. Basically like organic battery acid. Okay, so what are we on now? Then that's good enough. Right, so all these plants now have all had a nice water. Everything's got the Biobizz schedule in there for vegetation. Each pot now is nice and heavy, so we'll let these veg out. Just keep these in here, like I said, for 2 weeks. Just until the plants are dry, and then we'll chop some of them up for clones, and the rest will go directly into flower. So just giving them one last blast over with the wand. It's great, this wand, to get in the back there. It's much easier, so you don't have to faff around. I'll give these two a little boost as well. The G-Whiz. So we've got the G-Whiz downstairs, drying right now. We'll see how that is in the next couple of days. Ultimately, I'm pretty happy with everything. We've got the pink milk, re-vegged. We've got candy gas, re-vegging. 3 PMZ2s, 2 PMZ1s, 2 sugar canes, a frozen supersonic, candy gas, pink milk, G-Whiz. Tent's rocking in there. And let's go and do the last feed for the bedroom grow. Now this is the bedroom grow. Give each one of these a little dose as well. That's the Queen of the South. This is a sugar cane right here. And this is a frozen supersonic. These are the ones that we repotted in the other episode. So that was just yesterday. So there we go, cupboard grow, repotted, fed, and that'll be ready to go back downstairs in the small tent when the other plants are dry. Yes team, we're back at the rolling tray. It's been a busy day. It's pretty much dark outside now, you can't see anything. Got all the plants assorted now, pretty happy about that. But I wanted to show you one last thing before we get off here. So I was telling you earlier that a PMZ3, the third PMZ that we tried, turned into a hermaphrodite, pollinated all the other seeds, and these are the seeds that we've got left. So still got a little bit of PMZ in there just to kind of keep the humidity around, but in here these are all PMZ2 crossed with PMZ3 herm pollen. So we've got around 70 or 80 seeds in there. It's a mega mix, but hopefully there'll be some females in there and they'll give us like a nice back cross of itself. I think it's actually called a sib cross because they're two brother and sister plants that have pollinated. So I think that's called a sib cross. And within sib crosses, you actually get some very strong phenotypes if you do manage to find a female. So it's all in the hunt. PMZ2 cross PMZ3. We'll see how that turns out. We've got a lot of seeds in there. In the same area, we don't have as many seeds, but in the same area was this group of plants. So in here we've got Queen of the South crossed PMZ3 herm. This one could be an absolute banger, but there isn't many seeds in there, but still workable and enough to get through. So if that's a Queen of the South crossed PMZ, that would be some kind of Tropicana cherry crossed with number 1 stunner, crossed with permanent marker, crossed with Kush mint, crossed with Skittles. Crazy. So who knows, as long as we get a female out of that, it could be decent. Next batch that we've got, this was actually a mixed batch of seeds. So these was actually coming out as we was trimming, and this was in the trim box. So I don't even know which ones these are, but they're obviously one of these. That's a nice little box there as well. Who knows, that could be a little mystery packet. I'll keep them for a long time and see how they turn out. But all from the same room. We've also got Chicken and Waffles 1 crossed with PMZ. So obviously that's PMZ3, Chicken and Waffles. Got a lot of seeds here out of these ones. So many in there. There's around 70, I think I counted. Lots to work with. Chicken and Waffles 1 cross PMZ 3. All right, and we had a second phenotype of Chicken and Waffles, which was Chicken and Waffles 2. So this is Chicken and Waffles 2, which had a bit more of a blueberry note to it. A bit more of a blueberry note in there, but this will be crossed with the PMZ 3. So again, not as many as the other one, but still some to work with. Possibilities are endless. Just dropped one down here. What have we got? Ah yeah, the rainbows cross PMZ. So we've got about 10 or 15 in there. Rainbows cross PMZ 3. In here, this is the sugarcane cross PMZ 3. So again, we've got a few in there. I've just wrapped them in plastic. Didn't have enough pots, but there's around 10 in there. 2 more. This is Tropicana cookies crossed with PMZ. But again, there was not many in this one, just a couple. And in here alone is 2 seeds, only 2. So who knows what will happen, but this was a Mimosa cross PMZ. Mimosa wasn't one of my strains. Mimosa is a friend's strain. It's super orangey, bit light. It's not a heavy orange, it's more of a light kind of fizzy orange, if anything. And that's also crossed with the PMZ. So PMZ 3 crossed with Mimosa, Chicken and Waffles 2, Chicken and Waffles 1, the Rainbows, the Sugar Cane, the Tropicana Cookies, and the Queen of the South. And PMZ crossed with PMZ. So that back crossed itself. Possibilities are endless. When we get round to them, there could be some definite keepers in there, because I know for a fact that every single one of those clones was a keeper strain, and that PMZ3 is definitely a keeper strain. So we're going to get onto that. Got a little bit of a salad mix here, leftover chicken and waffles. This is all broken up because I took the seeds out of there, but it's still a nice smoke, keep it around a lot. We've got a few little nugs left of the frozen supersonic, but not too much. And we've got 2 little buds left of the PMZ2. This was all the way back from December. It's now March, what is it, March 24th. So this has lasted a while. It was a nice little batch. Been saving them last 2 buds, but I can't get enough of the PMZ, I'll tell you that for sure. But we've got enough bud here to last us for the next 2 weeks, I think, 14 days. Should be all right. Got a few other little stash pots as well, hanging around. So when this is all done, then we'll be able to get the rest of the stuff out of here dry. Let's take a quick look out of it, see how it's doing. Here are the plants finally hanging. So we've got it out, 14 days dry, will be the 8th of April. So hopefully this humidity will come down. I've just switched off the dehumidifier because it's really loud while I'm filming, but we'll switch that back on. When we get that on, that'll be coming up to around, let's see, we'll get that on 35-40%, and we'll leave these at an ambient temperature of just under 20, 19 or 20 is perfect. And hopefully these dry off real nice, looking really kind of frosty. PMZ starting to stink. We've got everything going in the back there, and all the remaining branches as well. So let's see how everything turns out in the drying tent. That's a wrap from me today, guys. I'm going to blaze a joint, get my feet up, and I'll speak to you in the next one. Happy hunting, everyone. Joint endeavours. Peace out.